My changes. Save. Okay. So
hi, my friends. Sorry, everybody. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. It's okay, Sally. Things happen sometimes.
Yeah, Cobb County bought Zoom for our district, and I had set this up before Cobb County bought our Zoom. So I'm thinking that's part of my issue. So I'm excited to see all of you and see what we're doing and everything else. So let me get my screen ready to share. All righty, make sure I admit everybody. I got a couple people in the waiting room. Whitney, I'm going to make you a co-host if you don't mind, and if you'll just check the waiting room and make sure everyone can get in. We had just a few technical issues. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Looking for Whitney to make sure she's good with that. Whitney, are you good with that? You want to give me a thumbs up if you're good with that? All right, you are the best. Thank you. All right, and we'll start sharing the screen. All right, so hopefully you guys can see my Bitmoji screen. If someone, Trish, I can see your face. If you want to give me a thumbs up if you can see it, yay. Okay, so yes, we are working on a backup plan because some of us are virtual, some of us are face-to-face and trying to do a socially distanced classroom, and some of us are doing, we're not really sure what, because it keeps changing, it seems like every minute. It is good to see all of your faces, by the way, and thank you for bearing with us as we came into a few issues. And I just sent Jeremy the wrong link. Hopefully he'll figure it out. Okay, so we're going to start off with a couple of resources that we have for you. The first thing I want to share with you, and there is a Google folder that should be linked properly in the resources tab under this session. So hopefully you have access to this Google folder. But what we've created, can you guys see my Padlet that's on the screen? Okay, thank you. Anyway, what we have here is this is just a collaborative Padlet that anyone can add to, and we're trying to share some ideas or resources as we're going through the learning that we're doing in the classrooms. As we're going through kind of figuring out what this looks like, we were trying to just put a place where teachers could share. So here's what we have. We have some primary ideas, and you'll see that people can post, add to, make comments on here. We have intermediate STEM and STEAM ideas. These are links, they're resources, things that you might want to put out. Sorry, I'm laughing at Jolene and Jeremy. Thank you for the commentaries we're going through. And then we're looking at things where we have a column that says, I don't know where it goes. And because there's some of that stuff that doesn't really fit neatly in any area. So we have a comment like, or a column for that. And then we have a questions tab. I'm not going to spend a ton of time, really going through all of these, but no, this is something that we've created in a way for you to be part of this collaborative community. So I've shared that. I'm going to go back to my Bitmoji. My toolbar is at the top, and I can see. Stop sharing so I can see what I need to do, and I'll share the screen again. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that's one resource that we have for you. Another thing that we've done that we put in the link to all of the resources that we created is we tried to come up with some lessons that integrated the engineering design process in STEM, but also address science content. So most of the STEM lessons that we do in our district are heavily science focused, We have tried to be more inclusive with our mathematics, but honestly, the integration level of our mathematics is very surface level right now. It seems to be an area that we continue to struggle with, but we are continuing to make strides. So let me show you a sample of one of those. In the Bitmoji classroom that you see right here, you can see a Curious George. So I'm gonna click on the Curious George, and it should take you into one of our K2 lessons that we did. And this is based off of a PBS lesson. If you look on the the GPB website, they have some STEM lessons that are on there. And one of them was about Curious George. So we took what they had created for Curious George, and we tried to write it up in a lesson plan format. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that to you. Oops, I'm gonna hang up with Donna. I just realized I still had her on speakerphone. So we had the standards that we're talking about, how we're gonna connect this lesson. So in this lesson, students will attempt to help Curious George figure out how to build a tall tree for his new bird friend using materials that he can find at home or that they can find at home. They'll be working on the mechanics of making something tall and stable. So in kindergarten, we're gonna look at attributes of different materials. In first grade, we're gonna look at the connection between real trees and things that might be built. So they'll look at just the parts of a tree. And then second grade, we're actually gonna be testing about that tree and look at the motion on their tree. So how would a bird landing on the tree that they've made, something tall that'll stand up, how would that impact the stability of that object? So those are our big ideas. We have essential questions in here. We have vocabulary and connections to different STEM careers, safety considerations, and the materials that they might consider using. If you were going to do this lesson in your classroom, some of the things that we've talked about are in a socially distanced classroom. We don't want all of the kids on the same table necessarily building together, because that's not necessarily going to be recommended right now just because of the safety concerns of them touching the common materials. So what we would do is we would showcase materials that they could potentially build with. The teacher could act as the demo and showcase those materials if you're in a face-to-face setting. If you're not in a face-to-face setting and you are doing this virtually with your students, we've walked you through what it could look like with an opening, a work session, and a closing. We also took the lesson and we tried to divide it amongst 5 days. So let's say you wanted to integrate elements of it over the course of a week. We have that information in there as well on a 5-day lesson plan with an opening, a work session, and a closing for each day that you could do with your students. We were anticipating this taking maybe 20 minutes or so. So if you wanted to have a more long-term integration with STEM, that's what we put out there for you. And like I said, right now we've just made some general ones that are out there for you. So you can see those all in the Google folder, and I'm not looking at the comments. Were you guys able to get to the links section off of what was linked on the GSTA website? I see Matt nodding, so I'm going to say yes, that we were able to do that. All right, does that make sense what I was showing you there and kind of some of the resources or ideas? I'm going to pause for a second, stop sharing, and I am going to bring us back together, and I'm going to just unmute. You can put it in the chat if you would like to, or you can actually have conversation about that and unmute yourself. Initial thoughts about the format that we're trying to integrate. I realize I gave you like the 30-second view of it, but what are your initial thoughts about that? I'm giving wait time. One of the things when I showed it to Christian Callie, who was our science supervisor in Cobb, he was a great critical friend. He said, all right, I see how this is using the engineering design process. I don't think the science is really heavy. I think it's a little fluffy with the science part of it. And I don't disagree with him on that. So I think that's one of the areas that, depending on your context, depending on your perspective or point of view, you might want to look at that and see how you can really focus in on those science standards. But at the same time, let's say you are in a lab setting where you're teaching a K-5 STEM lab, and you're, at least in our district, you're going to have a 30-minute block of time to teach a lesson to students. So what we tried to do was use that context and provide something where we could still be doing the engineering design process, showing them the elements of STEM, and focus on some science content that would connect. So those are just some examples. There's another one that we've done in there that's coding, where students have to create a dance code. So what they have to do is they write a code for other people to be able to do their dance. So if their dance involves jumping into the air, then you would create a code that says jump. If it says 2 steps to the right, you do 2 arrows that step to the right. Spin around, then a spin around. So they create a code. So they're still doing coding and programming in an unplugged format that they could do at home. So we've tried to kind of look at those. There's another one with bubbles, because we figured that soap and water were something that they could pretty easily find at home. And then we tried to align it. Some of the alignments are stronger than others, but we have tried to align it to grade level specific standards for K-5. So you'll see there's a K2 and a 3-5 version. We are not saying these are perfect at all. What we're saying is this was our first attempt to kind of make sense at what could this look like in a virtual environment, and then what could it look like in a socially distanced environment in our classroom. All right, I'm going to go back to our Bitmoji classroom and share another resource with you. So here we go. All right, share. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm looking for a nod that you can see the Bitmoji classroom again. Yay, thank you. All righty, so the next thing I wanted to show you are, we've also created some choice sessions. So here I've linked to our STEMCobb website. Hopefully you can see our STEMCobb website. It's linking like it's supposed to. All right, great. Across the top, you see resources. By the way, we have the STEMCobb website because we try to make anything and everything that we have available in our district available to anyone who might want to use it. So this website is open. It's a free resource. Anything that's on here, borrow, adapt, tweak, play with, however you want to use it, just go for it. So on this tab, on the resources tab across the top, you will see K2 blog, 3.5 blog, and 6.8 blog. I'm going to click on the 3.5 blog. So what we've done is we created, and we did these back in the spring when we first went into this virtual environment of distance learning, we created choice boards. And on our choice boards, we had Monday that had multiple options or ideas that you could do, a Tuesday, Wednesday, and depending on the week. So this last week, we only had 3 days that week. If you scroll down, you'll see, well, I'll show you in a second. There are other choice boards that are on there. These are ideas and resources that you could take and adapt that integrate STEM-infused learning practices. They're not the most robust STEM lessons, but they do integrate STEM practices, and they do integrate the type of thinking and skills that we want our students to be engaged in. The other thing that we did, if you go down, we had this for K2 and 3.5. Again, they don't necessarily address every standard in that spectrum, but it does address some of them. This one is for 4th grade in particular. So we took a lesson. What we did is we've linked it with a piece of text. So we found some read alouds that go along with the text that we're talking about or the concept that we want to explore. We have some online simulations that you could do to explore that concept a little further. And then we have an engineering design task that we've done that goes through the steps of the engineering design cycle with the students. You can download the lesson, and we actually wrote it in a very simple format, so it could be used for a parent to do, or it could be used for a teacher, depending on what your purpose is. So if you keep scrolling down, you'll see there are a lot of different STEM enrichment boards. I can actually take those. Oh, they're uploaded as a document, so they are editable, I believe. I don't think oh no, the document is located below it. So you can find those for in the PDF version, and then an editable one that you could be able to grab and use as you wanted to. Here's another one, a lesson that goes through HEAT for 3rd grade. So it's got the materials that they might need. It's got a read aloud that we would do together. It has some online simulations, something interactive that we would do online. And then it has us going through, and it's funny, Jeremy introduced something similar to this earlier in his session about melting and how ice melts on different surfaces. So just scroll through these, look through these, borrow, use, flat out copy anything that's out there that might be helpful in your classroom. Tweak them, whatever works for you. Okay, I'm going to go back. And that, like I said, we had the same thing for K2 and we had the same thing for 3.5. The other thing that we wanted to share with you is we have Pop-In PL. So this is something we did this summer to provide access to professional development. We were very fortunate that we were able to get some funding from Lockheed Martin, and Lockheed Martin supports some of our STEM endeavors. And so what we did with the funding that we got from Lockheed Martin is we normally, if those of you that don't know, in Cobb, we host the STEMapalooza conference every summer. Well, we couldn't do STEMapalooza this year because COVID. So what we did instead is we did Pop NPL. So Pop NPL is a free professional development that you can do. We have a game that you can do that will take you through, I'm trying to get down to the game board. So we have a game board right here. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm gonna try to make it a little bit bigger. Still, it looks a little blurry, but hopefully you can see it a little bit. Basically, you enter on the intro to gameplay tile, and then you can explore however you want to go to complete a pathway. And it's kind of like a choose your own adventure, but it's choose your own professional development. And you go through multiple professional developments through the course of playing this game. Playing the game is free. Oops, sorry. Playing the game is free. It is live right now, so you can register online to play the game. And what you'll be able to do is learn about a variety of resources and topics that are helpful in a STEM learning environment. So go ahead and check those out. Part of the gameplay is that you do tasks. It's not just to sit and get. You have to do stuff. You have to create stuff. Now you self-assess when you've created it. I'm not monitoring that. You're in charge of your own learning. But you know, you have tasks. And then you're also put into groups of your peers that you collaborate with in discussion boards. So you have conversation with a group of peers about a given topic. And so that's kind of how our gameplay works. It's still going on right now. The next thing I wanted to show you about, or show you, is that we did a series of professional developments all summer long. We recorded all of these series, and they are available right here on our Pop NPL website. So when you click onto those, you'll see these are the ones that we did on June 10th. It's how to get started with AR and VR. If you're not familiar with Jamie Donnelly, she is amazing. She has a whole set of stuff on her website. She's huge Twitter presence as well, and you can learn from her, but her stuff that she's sharing is all free. How do you integrate, you know, 3D objects that you could integrate into, or AR and VR objects into a regular classroom setting? So she's got a great set of resources that are pretty easy, and she talks you through them and you can do them. We worked with KSU, and they looked at how to promote student engagement in courses, small teaching, all of those things. If you want to access these ones, you have to email me and we send you the link. The presenter didn't want them posted on the internet. The app Smackdown with KSU was another great one, where they shared apps that were related to each of the letters in the STEM acronym. And these are free or low cost apps. And basically, one person presents an app, another person presents an app, and then they have kind of a battle about the two apps. They talk smack the whole time. It's kind of funny. We did how to fly drones. What does that look like? We did a K2 lesson on math, how to integrate math in there. The most favorite one that everybody did was how to create a Bitmoji classroom. And as you can tell from the fact I'm using the Bitmoji classroom, I jumped on that. Sphero, app design, STEAM, how to integrate visual arts in STEAM and performing arts in STEAM. Legends of Learning, who are a great partner with us. How to do a virtual STEM camp. I will say the session for this one was amazing information. The recording was a little jumbled, so bear with us, but they did some great stuff. We also did one on courageous conversations, really looking at how do we have those conversations in our classrooms to make sure all of our students feel included, and the social emotional component, and that we do have an inclusive culture in our classroom, because that is critical and very important. And then Legends of Learning. So all of those are available for free on our STEM Cobb website if you want to check those out. I'm actually going to stop sharing right now, because those were the main resources that I wanted to kind of share with you. And I wanted to give our last 5 minutes as a chance for Q&A, questions, things that you might share that you've been using that would be a great resource. I already got some notices that some people had already added some stuff to the Padlet, which is amazing. I love that we're already sharing and putting that out there. And I'm just going to pause right now. Anyone have anything that you would like to share that either you've created, your district has created, or someone else has shared with you as a resource? And I'm silently playing the Jeopardy wait time song in my head. All right, maybe not silently. I tried to hum it. You don't want me to hum. Okay, well, no glaring questions right now. We don't have it figured out. We don't know exactly what we're doing either. And part of that is the process that we're all going to just jump in. Yeah, I'm happy to put this recording actually in the Padlet. Oh, will I repost the Padlet? Sure, I can repost the Padlet. I have it open right here. There's the Padlet. So we will actually post this recording in the Padlet as well. But our goal from our district is that we really do want to be partners with others across the state and beyond. We think it helps us get better when we learn ideas that you're trying in your classrooms. So we definitely want to partner with anyone and everyone that's trying to do this work. It's not easy, but it is really rewarding and it is very valuable for our students. I really agree with Stephen 100% that, you know, we are the ones that are making a difference. And the most important thing I wanted to leave you with, I know when I look back on my education career, I don't remember each and every lab that my teacher had me do. I don't remember every assignment, but I remember how that teacher made me feel. So the relationships we're going to form with our students, those are paramount. The fact that we're going to be there for them, that is most important. Is every lesson we share the way that we would have done it in the face-to-face environment? No. But we're going to do what we can in the environment we have, and we know that it's going to get better. And we are going to continue to grow and really evolve our practices. So kudos to all of you for engaging in this work. I'm excited to get to spend the morning with you doing all of this. It makes it very fun and very engaging. And thank you for sticking in and finding this session since I had so much trouble getting the link to work at first. So apologies about that, but thank you to everybody. All right, we're running away now.